Champions League round of 16 is completely in the books. So at least the first half of it is completely in the books. And one team got completely screwed. Now we can argue the definition of completely screwed, but they got screwed. I don't know if it was the football gods, if it, amongst whom Allison is apparently one, or fate or curse or whatever. But one team got completely screwed. And we're going to get to that one team. But the first thing that happened on Wednesday was Inter against Feyenoord. And that was probably the least interesting match of all four. Because even though Feyenoord was very lively, and I'm going to be straight up and down with you, the crowd was absolutely insane. Especially if you go back and watch clips from that first half, the crowd was nuts. It must have been like an absolute madhouse trying to walk in there and perform. And Feyenoord put a little pressure on early. The first half was fairly even, but then all of a sudden, Marcus Thuram just outfoxes a center back in the box and finds a goal. And that really felt like it changed this entire match in favor of Inter. I mean, Inter's playing for the pride of like all Italy in this match because the rest of the Italian teams have just tanked. They're the only Italian team left in the round of 16 of the Champions League. There's more teams from the Netherlands. They have the same number of teams from Belgium are in this round of the Champions League. They cannot get knocked out by Feyenoord in this situation for the pride of Serie A. And they look like the better team. Lautaro Martinez scored in the second half. He probably could have scored again in the second half right before the actual goal that he ended up scoring. So the captain started to look good. And they got a penalty. They probably should have managed to put this match away, but the penalty was saved. It was actually a very, very good save by Feyenoord's goalkeeper, this dude, Wellenruther. He delivered. It was a brilliant save. It was not a bad penalty by any stretch of the imagination. Hard to the bottom corner, but he went early. He got there, and he made a couple of other decent saves throughout the match as well. We had some bad goalkeeping performances. Had another one on this day. But this match is not one that was colored by bad goalkeeping performances. The problem, though, for Feyenoord is you lose by multiple goals at home. What is the actual realistic chance of being able to go to Italy and get something out of that match? It's very low. You're going to need a weird match to happen. And based off the way that Inter played, they played with a champion's confidence. In this match, they weathered an energetic storm. I don't see Inter making those mistakes. I think Feyenoord's probably run out of magic, and the Netherlands has run out of magic in general. The second match, Bayern Munich against Bayer Leverkusen. 0-0 in the league. The two teams, top two positions in the Bundesliga. This is like the all-Germany clash. Bayern Munich is at home, and they got exactly what they wanted out of this match. Okay, 9 minutes in, Harry Kane with a spear of a header into the back of the net. This is why you get Harry Kane. Like, I realize the whole meme that Harry Kane's never won a trophy, but let's be honest. This is the derby in Germany right now. Champions League round of 16. And who shows up in the first 9 minutes but Harry Kane? That's a huge stage, right? It's not like Harry Kane's been in a lot of Champions League knockout matches in his career either. This is, compared to all of the other stages he's been on, relatively new territory for him, but he stepped up to the plate. He looked good. He looked good on the ball. Then he obviously was able to make a play early at the back post in order to put Bayern Munich in the lead. But oh my goodness, this was Bayern Munich's day. They were just better. That being said, there was one big chance for Bayer Leverkusen. It was a bad back pass. I think it was by Upamecano. I can't remember exactly. It was a bad back pass, and Bayer Leverkusen, with that kind of pressure that you'd expect from a Xabi Alonso coach side, was able to get on the ball, but Manuel Neuer, who is ageless at this sort of thing, comes out and makes an absolutely brilliant save in order to keep Bayern Munich in the lead. And then the mistake happened. This was the goalkeeping mistake. Kovar, who's the goalkeeper for Leverkusen, he is a good goalkeeper, comes off his line, should catch the ball. It gets a little high for him off the top of his hands. And as you can see from this image, Musiala's paying attention. Hincapie's not. Sorry, not Hincapie. This is Hermoso. He's not paying attention. Musiala is. He's able to pounce on the ball once it lands behind the goalkeeper because nobody else is looking for it, and he finds the second goal. Now, Jamal Musiala should have had one of the nastiest assists you've ever seen. Okay? He had a beautiful outside, why? Because I'm going to get DMCA'd if I show you, so I'm just going to act it out. You ready? The ball's coming in this direction. All right? He takes his foot, side of the foot, flicks it up. You see what I'm saying? Over the defender, gets in behind him, tees it up, should have been a goal. Bayern could have won this by more than 3-0. They really could have. Harry Kane ended up getting a penalty. It was one of those penalties I don't really like. It's a penalty. I'm not going to argue the fact that it's not a penalty, but it's one of those penalties that I think if you've watched this channel long enough, you know that they bother me. Somebody sticks their leg kind of right in front of where the defender is. The defender isn't necessarily trying to make a challenge per se as much as trying to lunge towards the ball. They get like out lunged, or they have somebody that's able to kind of step in front of them while they're lunging for the ball, and you end up getting a penalty. Harry Kane scores it, so he ends up with a freaking brace, and Bayer Leverkusen got a red card. Just, that's the sort of match event that feels like it's worth mentioning. It was a fair second yellow, and that basically, it's not like Bayer Leverkusen had any wind in its sails before that. It certainly didn't have any wind in its sails after that. Benfica, Barcelona. Honestly, those first two matches were appetizers. The second leg is probably not going to be that interesting. Leverkusen has a 3-goal gap to make up at home. Feyenoord's got 2 goals, but they're going on the road against Inter. That feels like a freaking nightmare. Benfica, Barcelona, and then PSG, Liverpool, obviously, were the 2 matches of the round, and I feel like nobody was paying attention to Benfica, Barcelona. Barcelona wins this 1-0. They should not have won this game. They did. And they deserved to win it because of Wojciech Szczesny. I thought he was washed, right? When he signed with Barcelona, initially, he wasn't even like the guy. Wojciech Szczesny, formerly retired center back, bailed out Pau Kubarsi so hard. Reckless challenge, the sort of challenge you have to get inch perfect or else you're getting a red card. He didn't get it inch perfect. Guy was in on goal, and he ends up getting a red card, straight red card in the 22nd minute. And Benfica was all over them. They were all over them. I realize if you see a scoreline like 1-0 Barcelona, you're just going, oh, that must have been a pretty standard. No. Wojciech Szczesny was amazing in this match. This does not do it justice to how much pressure Benfica was putting on at times in this match. And there were a couple of shots that just looked like they were going in. And yeah, you ever see a goalkeeper, and I'm sure you did if you were watching Allison, that is just so on. They're making every save look easy. And it just feels like it's impossible for the ball to ever end up in the back of the net. That was this type of game. There were 26 attempts on target by Benfica, 8 saves by Wojciech Szczesny, and nearly all of them were difficult. Benfica was running rampant in this game. But if you are going to win something like the Champions League, you need to be able to survive these kinds of atmospheres and survive this kind of moment. And Barcelona did. Antonio Silva, the young center back from Benfica, made a bad pass. Rafinha got onto it, shot it from 30 yards, and just found the bottom corner. It was really the only serious chance that I can remember Barcelona having after the red card. I know Barcelona had a good chance earlier that was saved very, very well by Trubin, who is the goalkeeper at Benfica at the moment. But after that, it was really just the Rafinha chance. And that was kind of it. The rest of the game was just, maybe a counter look here or there. But Benfica continuing to put the pressure on, this is such a depressing result for Benfica. They're underdogs coming into this. Barcelona's having a really good year in La Liga. They are resurgent. They've got Lamine Yamal. They've got Rafinha. They have Pedri, right? Like they've got these guys that are, Pedri's getting back into stride. Rafinha's reaching his peak. Lamine Yamal is starting to become one of those must-watch superstar players in the world. Benfica, really, this is the sort of round they make in this competition where you expect them to bow out. They played well enough to not do that, but now they have to go to Barcelona with a deficit, and I don't really back them figuring that out because I don't think they'll be able to play as well as they did in this match. And Kubarsi, well, he can't get sent off in the 22nd minute again because he's going to be suspended. So that's good news. But nothing compares to PSG against Liverpool. PSG, I'm sure they woke up Thursday morning, this morning, and they couldn't believe that they didn't win this game. It's just one of those matches. If you are in football, if you play football, if you coach football, you're going to have one of these matches. Couldn't believe it. I am absolutely sure that they could not believe they were in this situation. They had one successive highlight in the first half where two different players were taking a shot at a goal that was virtually empty with three defenders standing in front of it and couldn't quite get it in the back of the net. Now, I know that Liverpool deserves to win the game because they found a way to put the ball in the back of the net and PSG didn't. I understand the rules of the game. But I think as adults, we can also have a conversation about, wow, PSG looked better. They looked more talented. They looked more tactically astute. And they just couldn't get by one man, Alisson Becker. I mean, I've listened to a lot of people tell me he is the best goalkeeper in the world, and I've never really listened to them. I always thought it was Courtois, right? Thibaut Courtois just has that bit of extra size in some of the saves that he makes as a former goalkeeper at a much lower level. Obviously, myself, I'm just flabbergasted by what Thibaut Courtois is able to do in some of those situations. But Alisson looked like the best goalkeeper in the world in this match. He changed the game. He was making save after save after save. You know their goalkeeper's good when another shot comes in and you just hear the announcers, whoa, I mean, he was anticipating everything. He was getting early reads. He was getting off his feet early. He was getting the fingertips to everything. It was crazy. Ousmane Dembele looks, and I realize how dumb this sounds. He looks like one of the best players in the world. Messi and Ronaldo aren't at the top of the game anymore. Neymar is not at the top of the game anymore. Mbappe's been a little hit or miss. Haaland's leading the line at a faltering Manchester City. Give me a long list of players that are playing better than Ousmane Dembele this season, and I will call you a liar. He's that good. He played that well in this match again. He had one run down the far side of the field where he made the entire left side of the Liverpool defense look like pedestrian schoolboys. I mean, this is the player that Barcelona thought they were buying with all that Coutinho money. He has emerged. And PSG is not just him. They've got talent all around him. Kvaratskhelia is there, in case you've forgotten. Right? He scored a goal that was offside by that much in this game. But they never actually scored. I mean, the stats are unbelievable. They had 27 shots to 2. They had 10 shots on target, 71% possession against the best team in England, and it's not even close. But Harvey Elliott came off the bench. PSG did not mark up one counter well. They had three defenders kind of go with one guy and forget a late run from Harvey Elliott. He wraps his left foot around it. And let's be honest, if Alisson was in goal for PSG, he saves the shot. But Donnarumma, who hadn't had to make a save all match, just a little cold in the reflexes, gets fingertips to it, but not enough of a hand, and it just trickles into the corner. But if Alisson's in that goal, he makes that save, and that was all the difference in this match. It is hard as a goalkeeper to not be there for basically 90 minutes and then have to make that one save. Alisson stayed warm the entire game because the whole match was played around his goal virtually. But Harvey Elliott in for Mo Salah, that was the sub, scores almost right after that on one counter. What a great moment for Harvey Elliott, who's one of those guys that's been in that tweener position of like, yeah, he's pretty good and he really helps the team, but can he be one of the guys? This is the type of goal that can build the confidence in a young player to be one of the guys. At PSG, look, I know PSG is a club that has, the oil money invested in it, but those fans are nuts and that environment is crazy. Okay, and to go in there and be able to survive this match and score, this is soul crushing for PSG. They got to be cursed. Now they have to go to Anfield down 1-0 when they dominated the other team in every metric except for goals. In every eye test that you could possibly think of, PSG was the better team. But you have to score. They didn't score. They needed a Harry Kane type figure to go in there and actually put the ball in the back of the net. They didn't quite have it. Can they do it in the second leg? Yeah. This was an unbelievably impressive performance. If they can get anywhere near this, they can make up a 1-goal deficit. But if you're Liverpool, you can't feel better about this. If you watched that whole match and you're leaving with a 1-0 win, put that in the bank. That's the worst match we played all year. Go play in front of your raucous home crowd and try and take care of business. But this could get really spicy. The problem is it's going to take a lot of mental fortitude for PSG to be able to actually reach this level again. Because part of their soul died when that final whistle blew. It did.